Let me tell you something. Back when I was a kid, I loved reading or watching anything related to the mystery genre, whether it would be books, movies, TV series, or even anime. Years later, back when I was a teenager, I really understood the reason why I fell in love with the genre in the first place. There's a secret satisfaction building within you as the main character unravels the threads of mystery and finds the culprit. It's like the clues were given to you the whole time, yet until the main character or the story itself gives us some guidance, we're just left in the dark. Now, I wouldn't call that foreshadowing because that's a completely different literary technique, but if you look at it from a certain perspective, foreshadowing resembles what I mentioned a lot. So for those who skipped their high school English classes, what does foreshadowing actually mean? Now think of it this way, a certain event happens in the future, and this event is hinted at in the past so that we, the viewer, can get some sort of indication of what would happen. Have you heard of prophecies in fantasy novels and books? Ones that predict the end of the world and a hero rising to defeat the threats of evil? That's what I'm talking about. So speaking in terms of anime, many series use this technique on a minor level. Most writers are afraid to utilize this so often since they're afraid the larger mysteries will be revealed and the hype surrounding them would be diminished. But if there's one man who boldly puts foreshadowing in many instances, that's the one and only Hajime Isayama.
Eren, どうして泣いてるの?
I've watched a lot of translated interviews with Isayama, and in all these interviews there's one common question he gets asked. Did he plan the story before he started writing? Isayama says that that wasn't the case. Overall, he has an idea of what the main plot points would be, and this allows him to foreshadow some of the integral events of the manga. And by integral plot points, I mean the most important ones such as the reveal of Reiner and Bertolt, or the reveal of life outside the walls. Even before these major events happened, these events had been subtly foreshadowed before. One of the most popular examples is how Annie was speaking to a corpse after the battle at Trost. This was her survivor guilt of being a spy, but apart from the rather unpopular one, there have also been many instances that foreshadowed that Annie, Reiner, and Bertolt were Titan shifters. In the second opening of the first season, there's this brief sequence where we're shown the faces of the Survey Corps. Now, in that particular sequence, while Jean, Connie, and others face the left, Annie, Reiner, and Bertolt face the right, symbolizing the dualism between them and the other Survey Corps. When Armin, Jean, and Reiner chase after the female Titan, we hear both Armin and Jean's internal monologues, but we hear nothing from Reiner. Even after that, when Armin asks the others to cover their faces with their hoods so that the female Titan has trouble identifying one of them as Eren, Reiner purposefully reveals his face so that Annie can understand that's him. Moving forward to Season 2, when the squad first sees the Beast Titan, both Reiner and Bertolt are terrified because they know the nation of Mali is disappointed in them since they sent another Titan shifter to do the job. And in the Battle of Utgard Tower, when everyone seems desperate, Bertolt seems to nervously clutch his hand in fear. If things continued the way they did, he sure would have transformed, killing all of them in the process. Now, that seems like a lot of hints, but what if I told you I only touched on a few there? If I wanted to explain each instance, Isayama used foreshadowing mixed with either symbolism or subtle actions, then I'd need at least another 10 or 20 videos to do that justice. But rather than pointing out each time he used the technique of foreshadowing, I'd like to discuss the importance it had on the series instead. Attack on Titan, when it aired its first season, was labelled as a man versus monster show. You've got the threat of the Titans and the humans who face off against this evil. It's just like the anime version of your typical Hollywood summer blockbuster. The characters felt one-sided and the final villain, Annie Leonhardt, barely had any backstory or any good character introduction, so she came off as a pretty bland villain. Now, the reason things had to be this way in Season 1 was because it was only the beginning of an epic tale. Think of Season 1 as the first few chapters of a fantasy epic like Lord of the Rings. There's much to be discussed about the world, there are huge mysteries to be revealed, and character development is the last thing the writer should be worried about at that point. What matters in cases like this is the introduction. And in Season 1, we only saw the tip of the iceberg. There was much more to be discovered and many secrets about to be revealed, so Isayama had to give more focus on introducing this large cast of characters and mysteries of the world in order to create a successful introduction to the story. Here's where the foreshadowing comes into play. Foreshadowing allows us to get hints about the larger plot points or even the bigger picture the story's trying to paint. Anyone who watches the first season with extra attention will know that there's more than what meets the eye. Rewatch that first arc of Season 1 and you'll get plenty of hidden hints and symbolism about how Annie is a Titan. Watch the second arc again and there'll be plenty of instances that hint that Reiner's hiding something too. Now, if you didn't notice these during your first watch, I'm not going to blame you. As I mentioned, we watched Attack on Titan's first season thinking it was just another gory, apocalyptic man versus monster show, not something about racism, fascism, and all of that propaganda.
てか、あれ、さっきまで剣持って飛び回ってなかったか。ギューンってさ。
Apart from the hinting, foreshadowing also has a massive role in developing the story by establishing its plot points. Let me explain that a bit more. Imagine if we're suddenly told in Season 1 that Annie's the female Titan. Or think about how anyone would react when Reiner casually told, "Hey Eren, I'm the armored Titan, and the tall guy behind me, he's the colossal Titan." Now these may be plot twists because they came off as a surprise, but one golden rule in writing is that every plot twist should have some basis behind it. And by basis, I mean we, the audience, should be able to look back behind and find that the characters acted according to what the plot twist actually revealed to us. Okay, if that's confusing, think of it another way. Imagine if Reiner was a very cheerful, outgoing soldier in Season 1. Imagine if he laughed with everyone, spoke with everyone, and even made jokes every now and then. What if he was like the cheerful, extrovert big brother of the whole squad? Then in Season 2, it's suddenly revealed that he's the enemy of the nation, a man who brought the tragedy that happened 5 years ago, and much similar to Eren, another Titan shifter. Now how would you take that? It's like the character completely flipped a 180 just for the sake of the story. And not only does it look cheap, but it also feels like the author had no idea of where the story was heading in the first place. But obviously, that's not the case with Attack on Titan. Reiner's always shown as a character who's both grim and silent. He does it so well that he always looks like a rather unimportant side character. His dual personality was even hinted at in the first few episodes of Season 2. In his first conversation with Eren, he mentions that he needs to go back to his hometown, and when he's revealed to be the armored Titan, his dual personality comes into play again. You know where I'm going here, right? You do, yeah? What I'm trying to say is that all of Reiner's previous actions justify the plot twist in Season 2. Since all of this was foreshadowed before, we've got nothing to be surprised about when we look back at these events after the revelation. The revelation itself may come as a surprise, but for a second-time viewer of the show, there are plenty of hints you could pick up to understand the secret that Reiner was hiding all along. So if you should understand something from all of this, that's how foreshadowing creates a more firm and solid narrative structure. Character backstories and traumatic incidents may be great to build up a character, but if those aren't minorly hinted before, the audience will feel like the author's trying to pull out a weak magic trick. Season 4 is airing right now, and I can still see a lot of foreshadowing done through these episodes. What did Falco mean when he saw himself flying around killing Titans? Who's this mysterious man who appeared in the finale of the first episode? Well, I'm a manga reader, so I know the answers. But if you're an anime viewer, these are questions you should think about for a little while. So I hope you've caught up with some new information through this video, and if you didn't, at least you learned the technique of foreshadowing so you can boast about it to your English teachers. Or other than that, keep this technique in mind and try to find clues to when and where Isayama uses this technique in Season 4. As a manga reader, I know there's going to be plenty of instances of it, so keep an eye out for it. If you love this video, drop a like and subscribe for more content like this. That said, I'll see you in the next video.